Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to another special episode of Herschel Talkers. Got our longtime return guest, Derrick Dawg, as I call him. How you doing today, Derrick?
Doing good, Trey. Thanks for having me back home.
Yes, sir. All right, we'll jump right into it. Georgia puts the beat down, bludgeon, takes their soul, like my buddy Lou said, beat down the Shamecocks, as we like to call them, 48-7. I was at the game. That place cleared out at halftime. And when you only hear sandstorm 3 times, you know you're doing okay. It was kickoff, the halftime kickoff, and then a junk touchdown. And yeah, it was really, really good. Got to go with three of my good Georgia buddies. It was great to watch. Just the beat down, and we'll jump right into it. 48-7. Derrick, what's your thoughts on the game? And then Derrick's wife Ashley is a Gamecock, so house divided in their household this past week.
Yeah, it was. I figured we were gonna handle them pretty well, but I didn't think we were gonna just shut them down completely. The one thing I think the biggest takeaway is just how scary our defense is, and scary in the sense of how young they are, and they're only going to get better as the season goes on. And our offense, I mean, Bowers, if he isn't like, if the Patriots and other NFL teams aren't licking their chops for him when he leaves for the draft, I mean, he is Gronk, but even better. I mean, the speed, I don't think I've ever seen a tight end just be able to run around like he's a running back. I mean, he's doing it all. And I mean, how do you even stop that kind of thing? So, I mean, he's dominating, and then how about Bennett, 1-0 in a throw up game? So that was pretty interesting to see that and everything. I mean, every week, I mean, you can just see he's just more and more confidence, which is great to see, and he's getting the ball around to everybody, which. You do that, it makes that offense even more powerful, which is great to see.
Oh, it is. I mean, Bennett, he might be. I know everybody would have laughed last year. He might be getting in the Heisman Trophy talk, which is crazy. But he looked really good. He's mobile, leading rusher, which is kind of crazy. 3 carries, 36 yards and a touchdown. He's really accurate. Like you said, Brock Bowers just beasting it. Kind of like Gronk / Kelsey, and like he just has this like lean, like wherever he gets the ball, he's going to get positive yardage. And you just we love the white tight end, man, just turning on the burners. And then it seems like they move him around in different routes.
Well, I mean, it's not just that. I mean, it's
and everything positions and started covering him, and then you got to give it to Monken, man.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that catch in the end zone was, I mean, just by Bowers was just ridiculous. I mean, there's guys in the NFL that ain't making that catch, which is just crazy to think. So, I'm glad we have him. Needless to say.
Great so far, and then I think Monken's we're just great to have him. We're happy and special to have him. And Ladd McConkey's turning it on. He's becoming more of a weapon. He's almost kind of like a Wes Welker type. They're doing jet sweeps and getting him the ball. And good to see Oscar Delp got a little junk touchdown over there with Carson Beck. I think he's going to be really good. I wish maybe sometimes they'd use Darnell Washington more, but I don't think they really need him in this game. And like you said, the defense is just almost like scary. It was, to the point it was only going to be, 3 points, 10 points in 3 games. Can't ask anything more than that. They got a junk touchdown at the end. They're just quick and fast and swarming around. Malachi Starks got another pick. He's going to be special. So, and then for South Carolina, I don't feel bad for him, but like Spencer Rattler, I said, just I won't call him trash, but just struggling. 13 or 25, 118 for 2 picks. They couldn't run the ball. That Marshawn Lloyd guy, I believe we were after him in recruiting. They had 30 rushes for 92 yards, 3.1, just couldn't get the ball going. Shane Beamer after the game got a little chippy, I think, with some reporters asking did they quit. I just think all in all, I think it's just hard to recruit and be in South Carolina's position because you got Clemson, strong powerhouse team, and Georgia's a powerhouse. It's just hard to recruit, and I think you're kind of getting the leftovers, in recruiting. So,
Well, I mean, it's kind of shown that, like, even if you're finishing out of the top 10 in recruiting now, you're getting just left in the dust. I mean, you can't just win. Yeah, you can have the big name quarterback like a Spencer Rattler, but if you don't have an offensive line, which South Carolina had none, you don't have playmakers on defense. You don't have pieces everywhere. You're going to end up struggling, and unfortunately, that's where South Carolina is right now. I mean, all they have is they're relying on the transfer portal, which it works for some schools. I mean, App State, you look at them, they took on some transfers and it worked for them. But I think at the end of the day, Beamer, he never was a head coach before his position at South Carolina, and he did good for what he had last year. But I think when you get into a big game like against Georgia, which we have pieces everywhere, it's going to really show those holes that you might not see with other teams.
right. I completely agree. They're just kind of in a tough situation. I mean, and looking at their schedule, I mean, they might get bowl worthy. They got to get Rattler going. I think they're banged up on defense, so it's just tough sledding for them. But great win, 48-7. Anytime you get a big win in Williams-Brice, it was hotter than I thought. But yeah, great environment and a good win. I believe we might have got out of there pretty healthy. I think probably got some banged up guys. I think I was reading today that I guess Jalen Carter's been kind of dealing with a ankle injury. And then they're saying William Poole no longer with the team. Do you think that's going to be a blow? Or I feel like we're pretty deep in secondary there, right?
Yeah, I don't think it's good because apparently he was mainly playing on third down from what I read, and then they were trying to move into more corner. I saw the statement, personal reasons and stuff. I mean, he put out a really good statement. So, hopefully whatever's going on, he definitely gets through it and gets everything, taken care of and everything.
Yeah, that was a good heartfelt message. I think you posted something on Instagram saying enjoyed time there and everything. And then I guess another one is Eric Gilbert. I think Kirby said today he's day to day. Not sure if he's got some mental stuff going on or just lack of playing time. Seems like he's got a lot of potential. Just I don't know. I don't know if football is not his thing or it's something bigger in life, or I don't know.
Well, it also may be, when you take a year off from football, you can be the biggest star, but it takes a little bit of time to get back going again and get in that in the schemes and all that. And maybe it has something to do with that. That's what I hope. Because definitely hope it's no like personal battles or personal reasons that he's having to deal with that he had to deal with in the last year that he can get back on the field and start tearing it up for sure.
Oh yeah, but great win. And then also I want to mention our great sponsor here, Viva Tequila. Actually drank the elderberry, very tasty beverage this weekend. So live long, live well, live life. Introducing our Viva Tequila. So check it out. Huckleberry, grapefruit. It's a great beverage for the weekend. Drink a couple at the tailgate. Also, if you want 10% off on the discount code is 10% off is put the word hustle in when you go to checkout. So check out Viva Tequila, 10% off with hustle, and live life, live long, and shop Viva. And jumping into it, we got Kent State traveling to Georgia, get the 12 o'clock noon game. I believe it's might want to check it, SEC Network Plus and ESPN Plus. So everybody want to check that out. 44-point spread, not really. I guess this is FBS or is it FCS? I get them confused. I know they're
they're FBS.
Okay.
Yeah.
44-point spread, 1-2. Listen to the post conference. I think Kirby Smart talked up a little bit. Of course, he's going to do coach speak and say, we got to respect him and everything. But I hope we can get in, get out healthy, maybe get Bennett and the starters out by second quarter or even halftime. If I had to get real nitpicky, what I'd like to see is, I guess, the run game. He's not quite as explosive. I think Milton had like 10 carries, 32 yards. Seems like McIntosh is better out with the screen passes and the dumps. Dump it to him, that type thing. The pass game. I wish we'd see more and more from the Branson Robinson kid. I think he had six carries for 32 yards. So what would you like to see in this game, Derrick?
Yeah, I think the biggest is definitely on the run game. I mean, it's kind of unusual. We're talking about how well we're doing at throwing the ball, and now it's the rushing that normally, we've been so dominant at, that is a little bit on, not at the level that it normally is. Kendall Milton, I think at the start of the season, he was battling through a few injuries going into the start of the season. And I don't know, he just doesn't look like he has that burst quite yet. So I don't know if that's still lingering a little bit. But hopefully as the season goes on, we can definitely get the run game going. Cause I definitely feel it's going to be important to get that back on, to what we're used to when it comes to running. Cause I mean, if you can run that ball, and then the way Bennett is throwing that ball around, I mean, it's just gonna open things up even more.
Yeah, I agree. And then another good thing to look at is, with all the mop up duty and kind of backup time, like Carson Beck has played a complete game, and I thought he's looked pretty good so far. Even showed some wheels in that last game, so it'd be good to get him going. Maybe see a little bit more of BBG. I think he's only handed the ball off. So yeah, take care of business. Be great if we could shut them out. I'll give a little quick score. I guess 44-point spread, which is a lot, but I'm gonna go 56-3. Maybe they get a field goal or even hold them out. But I guess for all you degenerate gamblers out there, maybe put a little bit on the Dogs, I guess. What's your prediction?
I was gonna go 51-3.
Okay.
So was where I was going to go. So kind of close to yours.
Right. I gotcha. And so I know they fired Herb Edwards. I know, and they threw Todd Monken's name. I mean, I'd like to hold on as long as we could, but do you see him making a change in the offseason, or you think we can hold on to him one more year? Or what's your thoughts? He's great.
I don't think Todd Monken's would leave the position he's in for a job like Arizona State, because that's one of those jobs. It's not a sure thing, because it's a struggle on the West Coast. I mean, and then you're going to go somewhere and you're winning, you're battling to win just 8 games, if even that. So I think it has to be a bigger program for Tom Monken, because I mean, he's one of the top paid offensive coordinators, and supposedly over in Arizona State, the head coach there isn't making a bunch of money. So unless, I mean, they're about to be throwing a bunch of money at somebody, but I think Todd Monken, I don't think that's the job. I think he's either going to stay towards the South or go, it'd be towards like Texas, Oklahoma area. If he was to leave, I think that's where he would go.
Yeah. And he's kind of been there, done that on the head coach. I think he 3 seasons at Southern Miss, and there is that grind there of the recruiting. And I mean, if we pay him more money and you get us another natty,
Exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, hopefully we'll get in, get out, no injuries this weekend. And then jumping right into it. So some of the big games for this weekend. So SEC play, we got Florida, AR-15, wherever they call them now. Richardson's headed to Tennessee, which the defense is playing better. I believe the point spread on this is 11, which is interesting. I think I looked it up that Florida's won 18 out of the last 21, so kind of dominated this series. But I believe it's game day. I'm sure there'll be checkerboard. And Hennon Hunker, he's been pretty accurate so far. What's your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I didn't realize that Florida had that type of record in the last meetings with Tennessee, but I just don't see Tennessee. Tennessee is just they are rolling right now, and they have a really good high-powered offense going on. Happel has them like fired on all cylinders, and that fast-paced offense, it's tough to play. And you look at Florida. I mean, Florida's that team right now where 1 week they're like, man, I didn't think Florida even had the players to do that like they did against Utah. And then the next week they play against Kentucky, and you were like, what just happened? What was that? Right. And then last week against South Florida, they struggled again. So it's kind of one of those things. you don't know what Florida team you're going to get. And, it's kind of one of those things. Them going into Old Neyland, it's going to be rowdy. They're going to have that thing packed. And I just don't think they have the firepower to beat Tennessee this year.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. Got a close Tennessee buddy. He says the defense is a lot better. Everybody's bought in. They got some playmakers. Hendon Hooker, he's only thrown like 2 picks in 2 years or something.
Yeah.
I know they played a close one. I watched that game in Pittsburgh, which is a good team, but Pittsburgh was banged up at the very end, but they went in and got the win. Not really sure about. I know Florida struggled with South Florida, like barely beat them.
Yep.
I think you basically got with AR or Anthony Richardson. He's basically a bona fide running back. I mean, and another thing, no passing touchdowns yet. Carson Beck has 2 touchdowns. Our backup quarterback, 2 more than Anthony Richardson, which is crazy. And they were ready to make him a Heisman Trophy candidate after playing Utah.
Well, if you watch the Kentucky game, some of those throws, the interceptions that he threw to that Kentucky defense were just like, what were you doing, man? Right. And you can just tell he's more focused on the running side than necessarily maybe the accuracy. That's in a big game, that's going to kill you every time.
Right. Yeah, I just think these are two teams maybe not heading in the wrong direction, but I like Tennessee. Got a lot of hype behind them. They're motivated. I'm gonna go 31-17, maybe like a late touchdown to beat them. Not sure about depth wise. I think both of them are a little, maybe not. They don't have a lot of depth on the defensive line, so it could be an interesting one. But this has been a crazy one recently, where Florida has came in there and won when they shouldn't have. So we'll see. But that should be a good one. And then what's your pick, Derrick?
I'm going to go Tennessee, but I got 31-24 over Florida. I think just the rivalry. I think it's going to be. I think towards the end it's going to be closer than really what the game might be. But I think Tennessee comes away with the win for sure.
Good deal. And then any other slate of the games that you were interested in? I know I think Arkansas has to go on the road to Texas A&M. I know there's a lot of buzz with Jimbo.
That will be a good game.
Jimbo did get the win last week, but I didn't really see an improvement on offense with Matt Johnson. And I just think they do have a good defense. You got to give them that. And then the fact that they had 4 guys out the day before, I don't know if there's a culture problem.
Yep. I'll tell you, Arkansas, watch out for them. They are a sleeper team in the West. They've just got things going. They had a little trouble with the Missouri Southwest or whatever school that was. They were playing this past week, but it's kind of Jefferson can turn it on when he wants to for them. And you can definitely tell he's a leader when he's on that field for Arkansas. So it'll be interesting to see. The one thing is if Arkansas wins, what do they do with Jimbo? Because I don't know, because with that big contract, he negotiated to where it's like an $80 million buyout what do you do from there? I mean, you can't fire a guy with that much, can you?
Yeah, no, he's at week 6. I just think, let's just say they go 8-4. I think it gets a little warm next year. Because I threw out some stats last week. It was like $36 million in recruiting they spent. He gets $9 million a year. They got like 56 4 or 5 stars. They had like the number 1 rated all-time recruiting class last year, and I don't think they have a quarterback. They might have the defense.
Speaking of that, did you see how much they spent when Arch Manning came to visit?
What was it?
It was about $250,000, I believe, just for that weekend.
Didn't Texas spend like $280 and matched them or something? Did you read that?
Yeah. That's crazy.
That is.
That is crazy.
I guess we didn't pull our wallets out enough, did we?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah. Point spread on this is 2.5. All right. I just like maybe Arkansas. They're physical. The Jefferson kid's good. I guess I'll go with Max Johnson. This could be, I mean, I'm gonna go like 20-17 because I think
Yeah,
Texas will hold them on defense, but I just think Arkansas is gonna make adjustments. I know it's gonna be a tough place to play. Seems like they're having a lot of home games. All their games have been at home.
I
But
think I can't remember if it's them, but it might be that they got like 5 home games to start out the season. Somebody does. I can't remember if that's them or not, but it's crazy how many home games they've had so far.
right. So yeah, that should be interesting. That's probably the two bigger ones. Going to get your thoughts on. I know we always like to talk. So let's see. They got Herb Edwards just got fired, Arizona State. Of course, Scott Frost with
Nebraska.
who was there? Was there one other person so far? It's like
Well, there's talk of Auburn's head coach
that's right.
that like the rumor is the seat's really really hot, and my buddy that's the big Auburn fan, he's saying if we lose to Missouri, he's definitely gone. But I think he's a dead man walking no matter what. I mean, the boosters already tried kicking him out, getting him gone at the start of the season, and then that kind of blew up, and they didn't do it, and so they just kept him around. But I mean, the biggest thing is you can just see at Auburn the problem is how do you hire a guy from a school that's never even recruited in the Southeast to where so he has no way of knowing, what type of kids do you need, what you were running in Idaho is not going to work in the SEC.
Yeah.
And I think it's definitely showing. The only thing that's scary is the rumors are he gets fired. Dion and Hugh Freeze may be the top 2 targets for Auburn.
Yeah, I've heard that. And then, Georgia Tech with Jeff Collins, they're in a mess. Just got smoked by Ole Miss. I guess people are saying that would be a good hire if he went to Georgia Tech with the whole Atlanta Falcons. He's got a lot of link to the Atlanta job. But yeah, who would you think would be a good hire? Like, neutral. I know we're Georgia fans. Who you think if you're Auburn administration?
I mean, if you're Auburn, the top guy you would want is Hugh Freeze because he's already been an SEC coach. He's beaten Nick Saban a couple times. It was almost like whenever he would play Nick Saban, he was like Nick Saban's kryptonite for some reason.
Right.
And the game would just be a lot closer. Even if they lost, it was closer than they thought. So I think Hugh Freeze will be it. The only question is, will he be allowed back in the SEC? Because something tells me with the last round of when teams were hiring people, no one hired Hugh Freeze. And I think the reason for that is something tells me in the SEC, Sankey's still saying, nope, you're not. He's not coming back for what he did. So it'll be interesting to see if they allow him. If they do, that'll be a little scary, not going to lie. But only time will tell, I think, on that.
Keep those burner phones away, right?
Exactly.
How about if you're Nebraska? Any names you would pick? And this isn't the 90s anymore. I just think it's really hard to recruit there.
Well, that's the bit. One of the things that they've hit on it a little bit. I think Herb Street talked about it a little bit, and a few others have talked about it. Is one of the things that's actually hurt Nebraska more than helped was when they moved from the Big 12 to the Big 10, because all where Nebraska recruits is towards Texas, and none of their games are ever showed in those areas, mainly because they're in the Big 10. So I think that's actually ended up hurting them. Yeah, they're getting a lot of money from the Big 10, but I think it's hurt them on the recruiting side. So it makes the coaching a lot harder. I mean, realistically, if you're a big kid, Trey, if you were a 5-star, do you want to go to Tuscaloosa, out to USC, Athens, Georgia, Austin, Texas, or A&M, or do you want to go to Lincoln, Nebraska?
I agree. I'm gonna go SEC country for sure.
Yeah, I mean it's a no-brainer, and I think back in the day, it worked for them because, not everybody was on TV, and Nebraska was on TV, and they would be in big games and things like that in the 90s. And things have definitely changed now to where all the games are shown and everything. And I just, it's kind of one of those things. They're still living in that, hey, we're the Nebraska, we're the Cornhuskers. Yeah, you got a lot of money in your program and a nice stadium and stuff, but you got to get out of that mindset of the 90s, and you got to evolve a little bit and change the way you think. Because I think they're going to have to set. I think one of the best that I don't think they're going to get Urban Meyer. I don't think Urban Meyer would go there. But I think one of the best ones they're going to be able to get is like a Matt Campbell from Iowa State, which he's a good coach. Don't get me wrong. He's a coach that's going to get you 8 or 9 wins, but he's been I think Iowa State ended up with 7 or 8 wins last year. So, it's kind of one of those things to where it's like, I mean, it's a good hire, but it's not like, man, that they really knocked it out of the park with that. But it's kind of one of those situations that might be the best fit for them.
Yeah. You're kind of going to be in the what's the old guy's coach? I forgot his name. The previous guy, he was getting like 8, 9 wins, but they weren't happy there. Forgot his name. For Nebraska, the previous coach before Scott Frost got fired.
Oh, wasn't that the dude that used to coach Oregon State?
I think so. Forgot his name.
Yeah, I can't remember his name, but I think that was him because he had 8 or 9 wins. But how about old Bo Pelini when he was there? Bo Pelini was
that was the one I was talking about. That was it. Bo Pelini.
Yeah, that was one before that guy. Yeah, Bo Pelini. He
9, 10 wins, 8.
He was getting 9 or 10 wins, and they weren't even happy with that.
I think they think they're not that top tier, higher echelon team.
The one thing is, it just makes you think that the Scott Frost wish he would have never have left Central Florida is the real question.
Oh yeah. It kind of makes you think like, he came back to his. I mean, it could have been something similar to like if Kirby didn't make it with us, but ended up getting higher. Very similar.
Yep. Oh.
Yeah, real quick, I wanted to touch on the rankings. So, of course, these are updated rankings. So, Georgia gets all the votes pretty much, which they should. Alabama 2, Ohio State 3, Michigan 4, Clemson 5. I don't know. I've been hearing more and more about USC. I just don't know about their defense yet. They got the Caleb Williams kid. Not really sure who they'll play. I assume they might play Oregon. I'm not sure. Oregon. Boat race, the bicycle school, the bicycle college, as my buddy Uncle Lee calls it. So, which is making the Georgia win even better.
Yeah.
So what's your thoughts on? I know it's very early, but coming into week 4.
The one thing that I see in the rankings and everything is I think you're starting to see a little bit of a gap of us, then Bama, and then everybody else.
Right. All right.
And you see Ohio State, they struggled with Notre Dame, and they've blown out some smaller teams and whatnot, but they weren't impressive in that Notre Dame game. Yeah, and we all know where Notre Dame has been this season. They finally got their first win against Cal, which had to stop like a last second Hail Mary by Cal to win the game. So, they struggled in that game. And Clemson, they can't get anything going on offense. DJ Ukulele is just, I don't know what's going on with him, but
5-star on the bench. I hear he's really good. He just, I don't know, they won't put him in.
Yeah, well, I mean, it kind of it's kind of getting to one of those points they may have to. I mean, it's just, I don't know what's up with DJ, but he just can't. It's like he can't forgot how to throw the ball accurately. And then Michigan looks good, but you don't really know how well their defense is. And USC, the thing with Pac-12 teams, I fully can't take them seriously until they play other teams. And example of that is Utah was looked at by many experts at the beginning of the season. They're going to be a playoff team. They're going to be a playoff team. They go into Gainesville and get beat by a Florida team that, it has holes and is not the best Florida team and held them in check, right? And then what we did to Oregon. So it's kind of like, maybe we'll see when USC and Washington play, because Washington, that whooping they put on Michigan State was a little bit shocking, because Mel Tucker's had a good defense at that school for a while. So it'll be interesting to see. But as Peter Burns, I saw what he said today was, he was saying he doesn't see anybody getting within single digits of us in all throughout the season, which would just be crazy. But that's why I say I think one of this, our defense last year was one of the all-time greats, but this defense, what makes them so scary is because of how young they are. I mean, last year we had a lot of older guys. This year, how young they are and how fast they are is something you don't see much. And it's kind of like what old Paul Feinbaum said is Georgia just they don't have any holes. And if we keep rolling the way we are, I mean, it's definitely, hopefully, will be a number one seed in the playoffs for just kick things off for sure.
Oh yeah. I guess on our schedule, look at them. I think first test might be Tennessee. It's Jacksonville. Crazy things happen, but Tennessee, and then of course this one on the road in late November. Might be cold. Might be a night game. They get a little crazy there. And Kentucky is a good team. Kind of want to see how they do against some other teams. So I think
those are gonna be definitely the two. The good thing is Tennessee's coming to Athens. The Kentucky game, the scary thing about that is Kentucky has a really good defense. In that Florida game, just some of the different schemes and things that they were running on defense. I give mad props to what Stoops has been able to. He's turned a 100% basketball school into a legitimate football school. I mean, he really has. I have a really good friend that's a huge Kentucky fan, a Kentucky alum. And, it's just crazy to hear. He's more by this time, usually he's like, all right, when's basketball tipping off? But now you don't even hear him talking about basketball. It's all about football. So, I mean, it's really amazing what Stoops has been able to do at Kentucky.
Oh yeah, great program. Also, I'm surprised he's not been looked at by some of these big name jobs. I mean, he's turned them around, but he might be happy where he's at because it's low expectation and low stress.
Well, he just got that new contract to where I think it's every few years, as long as he's hitting as long as they're hitting certain win numbers, it increases his contract. So, I think it's kind of one of those things. He doesn't have a lot of pressure. They win 9 or 10 games at Kentucky. They're happy. And so now I think he's just, he's got a heck of a team and he's just playing with house money now, so it's kind of, there's the no pressure and it's, hey, let's get out on the field and surprise some people.
Oh yeah, I agree. So we will see, but where Georgia's sitting, looking great. Also wanted to give a shout out real quick before we head on out here that Talking Dogs, really appreciate them letting us post on their website. Great partner of the show. If you want to talk about the coffee shop, commit to the G recruiting. They got Talking Swag film study where we post. So they have really good forums talking about all things Georgia football. So anything else you want to get off your chest? To quote my boy Chell Sonnen.
The last thing I'll say is, how about that finish in that App State game? Probably one of the greatest Hail Marys in college football history for sure.
It was. I was watching Sean was riding on the way back and I kind of had him on the phone and I was like, holy shit, did that just happen? And all of them rushed. And the fact that it had game day and seems like wacky stuff happens in Boone, but hey, good for them. That was great. And I heard game day was really great there. A bunch of good signage, good for the program.
I can't believe that was the first time game day's been there, which is just I never even just thought of like game day, because Boone is just an awesome town to go visit. If anyone's never been, highly recommend it. The campus of App State and stuff is just amazing. So it was really cool to be able to see game day go there after they upset A&M. So that was awesome.
That was great. I don't think any Power 5 teams might be scheduling putting them on the schedule for big time programs.
They're not going to be getting that $1.5 million paycheck to come play somebody anymore. I don't think.
Exactly. That was great. Good for them. I don't know who they have this week, but 2-1. Good for them. Hope they're heading in the right direction.
Yeah.
Might be on a collision course with my alumni, Georgia Southern. We'll see. Clay Hilton's got them going. They're putting on points.
They pulling some upsets too.
They are. That was a good hire, though. I mean, you got a USC ex-coach. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
All right, man. Well, appreciate it, Derrick Dawg, and appreciate you coming on to Herschel Talkers.
Thanks for having me, man.
Awesome. Oh, go Dogs, and we'll see you next week.
Go Dogs.
Talkers, then we're out.